The scream came first, not from a mouth but from metal, an engine coughing its last breath in the middle of a sunlit roadside, oil bleeding onto the dust like a fresh wound, while a man nearby folded to his knees because the call on his phone had just told him his daughter's school fees were overdue for the third time, and this time there would be no mercy. The world did not pause for his pain. It never had. If you believe in hope, compassion, and second chances, Broken Smill viewers, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because stories like this exist for hearts that refuse to give up. R.F. Holt wiped his hands on his faded jeans, the smell of grease clinging to him the way exhaustion clung to his bones. The small roadside workshop he ran was barely more than a shed with a rusted roof, open on one side to let the daylight pour in. Tools hung from nails like tired soldiers. The sun was high, unforgiving, casting sharp shadows across the cracked concrete floor. R.F. had learned long ago that daylight was not always kind. It revealed everything you were trying to hide. His forearms were strong from years of labor, but his eyes carried a softness that came from nights spent listening to a child cry quietly into a pillow, so the world wouldn't hear her fear. He had not planned to stop. He had promised himself he would take every paid repair today, no favors, no mercy discounts. Survival had sharpened his rules, but then he saw the motorbike stalled just beyond his workshop, sleek yet wounded, and the woman standing beside it looked as though she did not belong to the road or the dust or the heat. She wore simplicity like a costume, plain clothes, unadorned, but something in her posture spoke of control carefully restrained. Her shoulders were tense, her hands clenched, her gaze fixed on the broken machine as if it had betrayed her. Saren Vale had driven herself into places like this on purpose. The daylight made it harder to hide behind shadows, and she wanted that discomfort. She had spent her life inside glass towers where sunlight reflected off polished floors and never quite touched the heart of things. Billionaire was a word the world used easily, carelessly, but it had never filled the quiet space beside her at breakfast or the echoing silence of rooms too large for one soul. She was searching, though she barely admitted it to herself, searching for something unpurchased, unpolished, unafraid of seeing her without the armor of wealth. R.F. approached the bike slowly, eyes trained on the engine like a doctor assessing a patient. He did not ask her name. He did not ask her story. He crouched, sunlight glinting off the metal, and listened to the machine's silence. He felt a strange calm settle over him as he worked, the familiar rhythm of problem and solution offering a brief escape from the weight pressing on his chest. His mind drifted, unbidden, to mornings when his daughter Myra would sit on the workshop steps, swinging her legs and asking him how engines knew when to stop breathing. Saren watched him from the chair he offered, nodding the careful way he handled the bike, as if it mattered beyond money. She had met countless men who spoke of passion while counting the cost of everything, including people. This man did not speak at all. His silence was not empty. It was full of concentration, of respect for the work. The daylight revealed the lines of fatigue on his face, the old scar near his wrist, the way his jaw tightened when a bolt resisted him. She felt something unfamiliar stir, an ache that had nothing to do with loneliness and everything to do with recognition. As the repair took longer than expected, R.F.'s thoughts darkened. He calculated hours, coins, debts. He remembered the day his wife had left for work and never returned, the accident that left him with ashes and unanswered questions. He had learned to pack grief into small boxes and stack them neatly so Myra would not see them topple. Fixing machines was easier than fixing a broken life. Machines did not ask why love left. The engine finally turned over, its sound rough but alive. The sunlight caught dust motes dancing in the air, transforming the workshop into something almost holy for a moment. Saren felt her breath hitch. It wasn't the bike. It was the way R.F. leaned back slightly, eyes closing for a heartbeat, as if the success had granted him a second of peace he could not afford to waste. She saw the weight he carried and recognized it because she carried her own, though hers wore silk and his wore oil. Payment was discussed briefly, awkwardly. Arev named a price that barely covered the parts. He did not look at her when he did. Saren noticed. She had been overcharged by people who knew exactly who she was, undercharged by those who sensed need and mistook it for weakness. This was neither. This was a man who valued fairness more than profit, even when profit might save him. She left, the bike humming, the road stretching ahead under the bright sky. But she did not go far. She stopped where the trees thinned and the city shimmered in the distance, and she sat on the bike, helmet in her lap, wondering when the last time was that someone had helped her without wanting something in return. The question unsettled her more than any boardroom battle ever had. Days passed. Daylight returned to the workshop again and again, each time revealing new cracks, new worries. Arev received another notice from the school. Myra tried to be brave, her smiles practiced and thin. He worked longer hours, hands aching, hope thinning. Then Saren returned, not with announcements, not with an entourage, but with the same quiet presence, the same searching eyes. She brought the bike again, claiming a new sound, a new problem. Arev fixed it, and again he felt that strange calm, and again she watched him like the world had slowed down just enough to let her see clearly. What grew between them was not spoken. It lived in gestures, the way she waited patiently, the way he explained things carefully, assuming she wanted to understand. The daylight bore witness to their shared silences, to the way trust formed not through revelation but through consistency. Saren learned about Myra through offhand comments, about bedtime stories and school lunches. Arev learned about travel, about cities he would never visit, without ever learning why she knew them so well. Life tested him again when the workshop received notice of redevelopment. The land would be cleared. Compensation would be minimal. Arev stood in the doorway one afternoon, sunlight pouring in, feeling the future close in like a tightening fist. He sat on the floor, tools scattered, and for the first time in years, he let himself break, shoulders shaking in the open day where anyone could see. This was the moment Saren chose truth. She returned not to fix the bike but to sit on the chair and see him as he was. She revealed herself not with grand gestures but with quiet facts that fell like stones into still water. Wealth, power, options. Arev's world tilted. He felt foolish, exposed, angry at himself for believing in something so fragile. The daylight felt harsh now, stripping away illusion. But Saren did not offer rescue. She offered understanding. She spoke of emptiness that money could not touch, of relationships built on fear and expectation, of wanting to be seen without the weight of a name. Arev listened, heart racing, and realized that pain did not measure itself in numbers. It measured itself in nights survived alone. Before the final turn of this story, Broken Smill viewers, please comment below and share what hope means to you. Your words matter more than you know. The twist came quietly. Saren did not buy the workshop. She did not solve his problems with a signature. Instead, she connected him to opportunities that respected his dignity, invested in training, in community, in growth that would outlast charity. She showed Myra a future without promising miracles. Arev learned that love did not arrive as rescue, but as partnership. Near the end, as the workshop filled with brighter light and new tools, as Myra laughed freely again, Saren stood beside Arev not as a savior, but as a woman who had found what she was searching for in the most unexpected place. If this story touched your heart, Broken Smill family, please support it with a like, a share, and your continued presence. The final image lingered in daylight. A repaired motorbike, a rebuilt workshop, a single dad no longer alone, and a woman who discovered that love could not be bought, only earned through honesty, patience, and the courage to stop pretending. The road ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time it was shared, and that made all the difference.